Hello from Up Ministry Studios. It's Dick Jr. I'm here today to read you Daniel chapter 10, which is my reading at church tomorrow. I wrote down 3 references out of this. Daniel chapter 9, verses 20 through 23. That's chapter 9, verses 20 through 23 of Daniel. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 29. That's chapter 31, verse 29 of Deuteronomy. Then Daniel, chapter 8, verse 26. That's chapter 8, verse 26 of Daniel. Okay. This is a kind of short chapter, about basically a full page, almost page and a half. It's another, there's more information given to Daniel in the Spirit. Not through the Spirit, but in the Spirit. He's taken to another place. He's talking to beings that are not like us. Whatever it is, it's not like us. So, some people say it's aliens. I say it's angels. But anyway, these are the visions of Daniel, and this is they're associated with earlier visions of Daniel that we've already read, like in chapter 8 and chapter 9. And in those visions, the name given was Gabriel. And there's a name given here in this as Michael. And it also refers back, I think, to chapter 9, this Michael. But anyway, I prayed before I came to you guys and asked God to help me to speak to you. And I suggest that anytime you place yourself in God's Word, that you ask Him to help you to understand it, to give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I have a problem with enunciation sometimes. And He will. That's His promise. It's in here. You can find it if you read through here. You'll find these promises that I'm telling you about. I have no reason to lie to you about it. I kind of want to make people go looking for it because you find other stuff on the way through. Excuse me. So all those things being said, let's get started here in chapter 10, verse 1. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who was named Belshazzar. And the message was true and one of great conflict, but he understood the message and had an understanding of the vision. And I think it's talking back about also the vision that he had earlier and also this vision and this information is given now. In those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. I did not eat any tasty food, nor eat meat or wine into my mouth, nor did I use any ointment at all until the entire 3 weeks were completed. It doesn't say that he didn't eat vegetables and didn't drink water, but he took no wine and no meat, okay, which is a big thing. And, anyway, he was purifying his body, and also it's sort of like giving something up for Lent, for mourning, as a proof of mourning. It's a show of faithfulness. But the reason he was mourning was not for necessarily just for death. It was for the whole nation, I think. Anyway, so on the 24th day of the 1st month, while I was by the bank of the great river, that is the Tigris, I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, there was a certain man, dressed in linen, whose waist was girded with a belt of pure gold of Uphaz. So he had a pure gold belt around his waist. His body was like beryl. His face had the appearance of lightning. His eyes were like flaming torches. His arms and feet the gleam of polished bronze, and the sound of his words like the sound of a tumult. Now I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, while the men who were with me did not see the vision. Nevertheless, a great dread fell on them, and they ran away to hide themselves. So, just as he said, they don't know why, but they just ran away. And Daniel fell into a state where he could see this, but they couldn't. And that's what I was saying. He was in the Spirit. They took him to a place that we can't see right now to see these things. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So I was left alone and saw this great vision. Yet no strength was left in me, for my natural color turned to a deathly pallor, and I retained no strength. But I heard the sound of his words, and as soon as I heard the sound of his words, I fell into a deep sleep on my face, with my face to the ground. And this matches up with also what happened to him in chapter 8 when he saw Gabriel. So then behold, a hand touched me and set me trembling on my hands and knees. He said to me, O Daniel, man of high esteem, understand the words that I'm about to tell you, and stand upright, for I have now sent to you. I have now been sent to you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood up trembling. So the angel commanded him, took control of him. Then he said to me, do not be afraid, Daniel. For from the first day that you set your heart on understanding this and on humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to your words. And right here, I'm going to take the reference to Daniel chapter 9, verses 20 through 23, and it's in reference to where it says, humbling yourself before your God. So that's what we're going to go in reference to. So this is Daniel chapter 9, verse 20 through 23. Sorry. Daniel chapter 9, 20 through 23. Now while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God in behalf of the holy mountain of my God, while I was still speaking in prayer, then the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision previously, came to me in my extreme weariness about the time of the evening offering. He gave me instruction and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I have now come forth to give you insight and with understanding. At the beginning of your supplications, the command was issued, and I have come to tell you, for you are highly esteemed. So give heed to the message and gain understanding of the vision. That's why I took that reference, because it's kind of very similar, and we're right here in the same type of thing happening to him. Okay, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia was withstanding me for 21 days. Then behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to give you an understanding of what will happen to your people in the latter days. I underline that, latter days. That's a very broad statement. Okay, I think that it pertains to the latter days. In fact, I think some of these things, as we go through and we hear that, may even pertain to these days as the latter days. Anyway, so latter days, for the vision pertains to the days yet future. So obviously this has nothing to do with any time that Daniel's going to see soon. Okay, that's what this servant of God is trying to tell this servant of God. Okay, this is where we're going to take the reference to Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 29 and Daniel chapter 8 verse 26. We're going to take the reference to Deuteronomy 31 verse 29 as for where it says latter days that I told you I underlined. So we're going to go back here in Deuteronomy 31:29. For I know that after my death you will act corruptly and turn from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days. For you will do that which is evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger with the work of your hands. This was Moses' dying words, basically, to Israel. And us as well. So, anyway, Daniel chapter 8, verse 26, and that is in reference to where it says the days yet future. Okay, let's see, 8:26. This is the last thing that Gabriel says to Daniel in the vision that I had just read you part of before. Gabriel says, the vision of the evenings and mornings which has been told is true, but keep the vision secret, for it pertains to many days in the future. And he's talking about 2,300 days and mornings. Okay, at the beginning of this vision, he gives that number. But if you've learned anything from Daniel, sometimes the number means something, but the time period that you're given in the prophecy doesn't. I ascertain that this is just me. I think that these days are years. Full solar years, though. Full solar years, not one solar day, one full solar year. See what I mean? And the morning and the evenings of 1 year. In the morning and the evenings of 1 year. That's what I think. So anyway, I'm going to go back to Daniel where we were at. Verse 15 in chapter 10 of Daniel. And when he spoke to me according to these words, I turned my face toward the ground and became speechless. And behold, one who resembled a human being was touching my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spoke and said to him who was standing before me, O my Lord, this is small L, not a big L, as a result of the vision, anguish has come upon me, and I have retained no strength. This is very similar to what happened to him in the beginning of this, and also what happened to him in other instances where these visions came upon Daniel. For how can such a servant of my Lord walk with such as my Lord? As for me, there remains just now no strength in me, nor has any breath been left in me. And he's asking him, how can someone such as me walk with someone such as you? You know, because he's so glorious. You know, he's a servant of God, probably an angel. And that was, anyway. So again, here Daniel has run out of energy and breath and life just moments ago, but you know, some time ago probably. He was helped up, but now he still has no strength. Then this one with human appearance touched me again and strengthened me. He said, O man of high esteem, do not be afraid. Peace be with you. Take courage and be courageous. That's one of my favorite spots right there. Take courage and be courageous. Doesn't tell us to be soft. It says take courage and be courageous. I mean, be courageous for the Lord, though. You know, don't deny him. That's for sure. Now, as soon as he spoke to me, I received strength and said, May my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you understand why I came to you? But I shall now return to fight against the prince of Persia. So I am going forth. And behold, the prince of Greece is about to come. However, I will tell you what is inscribed in the writing of truth. Yet there is no one who stands firmly with me against these forces, except Michael, your prince. This is all a vision from an angel, and I don't think it's... I didn't take any references out of this, and I'm not going to go into what I per se think, but just remember that this vision began with... Now I have come to give you an understanding of what will happen to your people in the latter days. That's how this vision started, 14 basically. And latter days is latter days. So even though it's talking about Greece and Persia, it may not be talking about Greece and Persia as we know it today in this history. You know what I mean? So it could be another form of it that resembles these things, you know. Nations that rise up in this area around Jerusalem, though. It's not, they're not going to rise up and take over the world. You don't understand. This is all over God's land. Anyway, and all these things being said, that's all I really have for Daniel chapter 10. And thanks for watching. God bless.